それでは、2時になりましたので、ウェビナーの方を始めていきたいと思います。本日のウェビナーなんですけど、旅行会社から見た選ばれるガイドとは、ボリューム4ということでお届けしていきたいなと思います。だいぶ久しぶりですね、こういうウェビナーをやるのも。桜のシーズン、なかなか皆さんもお忙しくて、旅行会社の方も忙しくて、こういったウェビナーが行うことができなかったんですけど、今回、桜シーズンも一段落したというところで、このようなウェビナーを企画させていただきました。本日4回目ということで、前回に引き続いてグランドサークルコーポレーションの方と、今回初めてエグゾトラベルジャパンの方にご登壇いただいて90分間ほどお話をしていきたいなと思います。1点だけちょっと皆さんにお伝えしておかなければいけないことがございまして、もともとグランドサークルコーポレーションからは、高橋さん、前回もご登壇いただいた高橋さんにご登壇いただく予定だったんですけども、急遽諸事情によって登壇できなくなってしまったということで、本日、タイガーさん、代わりにタイガーさんという方にご登壇いただくことになっています。エグゾトラベルジャパンのテリーさん、もともと英語の予定だったんですけど、今回、両編とも英語で開催させていただくということで、ちょっと英語の通訳案内士の方は問題ないかなと思うんですけど、そうでない方にとっては、最初がもう英語になってしまうということだけ、ご了承いただければなと思っております。ということで、ここから今日のアジェンダ等は、英語でお話をさせていただければなと思いますけど、今日の進行は、私、ノットワールドの佐々木が務めさせていただきます。よろしくお願いいたします。今日のアジェンダなんですけど、Today's agenda is as follows. First, what's today's webinar? And the second, introduce today's speaker, Grand Circle Corporation and Exo Travel Japan. And finally, we have 20 minutes, 15 minutes. We want to have a Q&A session. So at first, let me explain about what's the seminar. We held several seminars so far. Today's theme is what kind of guide travel company are looking for. To know what guides are needed by the tour company is important for guide to find a great job from them. It's also important for the tour company to find a good guide who understands their tours and the policy. So we want to hold this webinar to optimize matching between our travel company and the guides through this webinar. So please enjoy this webinar to know what guide are looking for. Exo Travel and Grand Circle, they hold different kind of tours. So which company you suit for the tour? And today we had two travel company, JWG Travel Partners. First one is a Grand Circle Corporation, and the second one is Exo Travel Japan. Before I introduce them, let me explain about rule. During the webinar, if you have any questions, please send questions to Q&A box, not chat box. And as for chat box, if you feel something like great, interesting, agree, please use chat box. Maybe you can find bottom of the display. You can find chat box and the Q&A box. So please use them to communicate with us. Okay, so let's start webinar. I'd like to turn things over to Taiga-san from Grand Circle Corporation. So please turn on video and mic, Taiga-san.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, please start the presentation, please.
Oh, okay. So am I okay to share my screen of the PowerPoint?
Yes, please.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for Noah to having me in this webinar to introduce the Grand Circle Travel. And let me share my screen. Okay, can you see my screen? Okay.
Now, yes, but not the PowerPoint.
Oh, that's okay because
Yeah.
it's just to give some general idea about the company. Yeah. They should
Okay.
be okay. Yeah, not
Yeah.
too much content in there. Okay.
Okay.
So firstly, let me introduce the Grand Circle Corporation. And this is a very brief history of our company. So 1958, Grand Circle is created as the travel branch of AARP, American Association of Retired Persons, to provide overseas travel to retired Americans. So that was the year the Grand Circle is founded. 1985, Alan and Harry Lewis purchased Grand Circle and set out to create a company's vision to change people's lives. And 1993, Alan and Harry Lewis purchased Overseas Adventure Travel, OAT. And OAT offers small group overseas adventure tours for more active, experienced travelers. And 1998, Grand Circle Corporation launches its first river cruise, Grand Circle Cruise Lines. So we call it GCCL. So these are the very brief history of our Grand Circle Corporation. And some of the basic information of our company, annual sales for our company is about $600 million every year. And total number of travelers start from 1958. In total, we have organized more than 2 million travelers travel all over the world. And office worldwide, we have 40 offices worldwide in different countries. And our headquarters is in Boston. And total number of our associates is 2,000. And meanwhile, I would like to tell you that Grand Circle Corporation also has our foundation. We call it Grand Circle Foundation. We are giving back to the places where we travel. And in total, $175 million are donated in all these years. So just now I mentioned 3 main travel branches of our company. So Grand Circle family include, the first one is Overseas Adventure Travel. And Overseas Adventure Travel, this is a group which are small size. Total number of the travelers maximum will be 16 travelers. And average age of our travelers is 64 for Grand Circle. And for Overseas Adventure Travel, we have 2 products in Japan. The first one is called Japan Cultural Treasures. Total length of the trip is 14 days. And we will cover 4 major destinations on this trip, which are Tokyo, Hakone, Kanazawa, and Kyoto. Some of the travelers also will choose to go to Hiroshima as the post trip. So the base trip is about 14 days. The second product we have in Japan is South Korea and Japan. So as you can tell, this is a combo product. We have 2 countries in there. South Korea, we have 5 days, and in Japan, we have 9 days. And the name of this product is called Temples, Shrines, and Seaside Treasures. So in Japan, we are going to cover 3 major destinations: Tokyo, Toba, and Kyoto. And also for this trip, we have a post trip to Hiroshima for some of the travelers who want to go there. So those are the 2 major products in Japan for our overseas adventure travel. For Grand Circle Travel, this is another different branch of our company. For Grand Circle Travel, this is the bigger size of the group. And in total, we have maximum 42 travelers. So this is a very big size group. And the travelers are older. Average age is about 73 years old. And we do not have Grand Circle Travel in Japan. Just to make it clear. And the third branch of our Grand Circle Travel company is Grand Circle Cruise Line. So our Grand Circle Cruise Line, many are in Europe. So we don't have Grand Circle Cruise Line in Japan either. So I will focus more on what kind of trip leaders we are looking for, okay? So for the trip leaders, we are looking for I will just talk about 3 major things, 3 key points. The first or number 1 quality So you are the tour guide who can speak clear, good English, and you are able to deliver the great knowledge of Japan, provide information and commentary about your country. I think this is very important because you are taking American travelers, so you will be able to communicate with them with your clear and good English, and you will be able to understand what they are talking, and you will be able to share all the information in relate to Japan. And I want to tell you that our travelers, they have all kinds of questions about Japan. If you look at down below, and I mentioned that those are some of our profession background of our OAT travelers. 30% of them come from education background. So many of them, they are teachers. They are teachers in high school, junior high school, senior high school, or universities, professors. So those are the travelers. They are eager to learn a lot of information about Japan. 27% of our travelers, they come from business profession background. They are eager to understand the economy and those kind of perspective from a Japanese. 12% of them come from government. They work for government. They want to understand more about political things about Japan. And 12% of them come from medicine. They work for hospitals. They are doctors or nurses. And 8% come from law or accounting profession, or come from those careers before. And 11% are others. So by looking at this information, you will understand that our travelers from overseas adventure travel, they are well-educated travelers, and they really want to come to Japan to learn and discover. So recently, we have noticed that many of the trip leaders, many of the tour guides in Japan, they can speak good English because many of you have already have a very successful career, and you work for international companies before, and many of the tour guides, before you do the tour guide job, you actually work for big international companies stationed in America or Europe for many years. You can speak very good English. But when it comes to deliver the knowledge of Japan, sometimes we notice that the lack of some of the information of delivering about Japan during the trip, such as our traveler want to know about the basic political system of Japan, the religion of the local people, what kind of health insurance Japanese is covering, and education system. And they also want to know some of the social issues in Japan. Are there any homeless people in Japan? What is the situation of crime rate? This and that. So their questions has many, many things. But we want to have a tour guide. They are able to deliver those information along the trip. Maybe every day you can pick up some information to share with our travelers. Maybe day one, you can talk about the basic information of Japan, the population, the cities, this and that. Day two, you can talk about the unique culture of Japan, why Japanese bow so many times, how many different kinds of bow Japanese people practice in everyday life. Maybe day three, you can talk about what is the main religions that our Japanese people believe in. Shinto religion, Buddhism religion, what is the difference of them? How people practice those religions? Are there any other religions in Japan? And any issues with the religion, this and that. Maybe day four, you can talk about some of the information about how common Japanese people live a daily life. So those are the things we want our tour guide. They make a plan ahead and they can deliver to our travelers, because our travelers really appreciate all those kind of information and they want to learn from you about everything about Japan. So this is the first quality we want our trip leader, we want our trip experience leader to obtain, and they are able to deliver those things on site. The number two kind of trip leaders we are looking for is you will be able to facilitate a lot of local interaction to give travelers a better and deeper understanding of Japan. So why I put this as one of the requirements? Because our trip is very unique. We always call overseas adventure travel is a learning and discovery trip. How we are going to enhance the learning and discovery for our travelers in Japan? One of the major things we are going to do is that we have a lot of chances to meet with local people. And there are a lot of people-to-people interaction almost every day on the trip. And because of that, you as the trip leader, a lot of times you will be able to interpret and facilitate this kind of local interaction. So it's not only you give the information to our travelers, it's not only you talk about this and that about Japan. It is about the local people to share the information about Japan as well. So you sometimes are part of our job as the trip leader is a facilitator to facilitate this kind of things or interactions between the travelers with the local people. I'd like to share with you some of the photos during the trip, and by this you will understand what kind of job our trip leader are doing in Japan for taking overseas adventure travel. So this is in Tokyo what we will do. Maybe some of you have already done this before, which means that you are going to facilitate the conversation between the travelers with the former sumo wrestlers. So it's about the sumo wrestler. They are going to share about their life before and some of the cultural information related to sumo and some of the information about this sport. And then our travelers will ask all kinds of questions about this sport. So this is what we do in Tokyo. And also we will do the taiko drum lesson. We will bring our travelers to Asakusa and we are going to learn how to do the taiko drum. And you as the trip leader, you have to facilitate this conversation to teach our traveler with the support of the taiko master to practice the taiko drum. So this is what we do in Tokyo. And then we are going to Hakone. On the way to Hakone, we are going to visit a local village called Ashigara village. And we are going to visit different kind of things there. But one of the things we do there is to learn from the local green tea farmers, how they plant green tea. So we have some local interaction there. Sometimes they also invite the kids to join us for interaction. So this is a group photo on that day for people after people-to-people interaction. And also we will teach our traveler how to make rice balls. So as you can see in the picture, the local person is trying to teach our travelers how to make the triangle shaped rice ball and they put the seaweed or they put different kind of fillings inside the rice. And in Hakone, we have another highlight of the trip. We are going to meet geishas in Hakone. And you can tell this is a group photo. And we have invited 2 geishas to join us to talk about what kind of entertainment business of modern geisha. And the geishas will share with us about what kind of daily life, what they do for living, this and that. So it is also very interesting. And of course, our traveler will ask any kind of questions they have about geisha, because sometimes American travelers, they have a wrong image of geisha in their idea. That is because of the Man of Geisha, the movie. Some of the travelers said the geisha in American movies, they do massage on the back of American people. They do massage on the back of the customers. So which are totally wrong image of this entertainment business about this geisha profession. So that's the reason our trip leader will give them the right information and with this interaction with our geisha ladies. So this is the interaction which a lot of travelers enjoy about meeting our geisha in Japan. And in Hakone, we also will meet a master of handicraft who is so good at wood, and they make all kind of wood things. But I don't have the photo here, but I just want to share with you. That's another people-to-people interaction we have. And then we are going to Kanazawa. And in Kanazawa, we are going to do paper making. As you can tell, this is part of the paper making process. Each of our travelers will have a hands-on experience to do the paper making. So which is very interesting. Our travelers enjoying this very much. And also we will meet a local people in Kanazawa and to introduce the traditional ritual ceremonies by using the musical instrument. They will perform some kind of dancing, and our trip leader will translate and facilitate the conversation as well. And in Kanazawa, another highlight of our trip, we are going to make gold leaf postcards with the support of the local staff in there. So that is also a highlight for our travelers. Many of our travelers, they didn't know how to do that, but after participating this lesson, they learn how to use the gold leaf to make those products. And one other thing in Kanazawa, we will bring our travelers to join with the locals. We are going to have a local home visit. So we have different families in Kanazawa. They will meet our travelers and introduce their family and show them family album and also give them some information about what kind of daily life they are living at. And also some of the families will serve tea, this and that. So that is another people-to-people interaction we have on this trip. And one thing I didn't put into the photos in there in Kanazawa is we also will make mochi. We have mochi pounding lesson. The whole group, we are going to make mochi together. So after Kanazawa, we are going to Kyoto. In Kyoto, we also have some very good people-to-people interaction. As you can tell in the picture right there, we are making mocha, the Japanese green tea. We use this kind of stone grind to grind tea into the tea powder. We make matcha tea in this place, and travelers are so impressed about this activity. So after this day, they learn how those matcha be made. And after they make their matcha tea, they are going to join and stay together and to enjoy and how to learn how to use the whisk to drink the matcha tea, how to mix the matcha powder and drink together, and how they are going to hold the teacup. So it's a kind of cultural lesson for our travelers. So this is Kyoto, and in Kyoto, we also have ikebana, the flower arrangement. So our traveler enjoying the flower arrangement a lot. So each of them, they will get a chance to do their own ikebana with the support of the ikebana master. And of course, our trip leader will be the key person to facilitate this conversation and facilitate any Q&A with our master. And in Kyoto, what we are doing there, and also we will go to a temple in Arashiyama. I believe some of you have already been to Arashiyama. And if you remember, if you go to the mountain of the Arashiyama, and you will find there is a small temple on in the middle level, or like if you need to climb up a little bit and you can reach to this temple, and our traveler will go there, and we will have a Zen meditation with a local monk. And of course, our trip leader is going to facilitate the conversation about with the monk, between the monk with our traveler. So our traveler will learn about the basic Zen Buddhism, and learn about how to do meditation in there. So that's another people-to-people interaction. And in Kyoto, another thing we do, we are going to bring our travelers to make their own sushi. So which is one of the things unique, one of the food very popular in Japan. Not only in Japan, right now in America, this kind of sushi are also very popular. So those pictures I have shared with you are all people-to-people interaction on this trip. So in total, we have 14 days on this trip. And many of those days, almost every day, we have people-to-people interaction. So that's the reason one of the qualities we want our trip experience leader to have is you will be able to facilitate the conversation of those people-to-people interaction. And we also encourage our trip leader to have some spontaneous interaction with the local people. Sometimes when you take a group to maybe to Meiji Shrine, you will meet some of the local people, have a wedding ceremony there. So we encourage our trip leaders to approach to some of the local people, and then the local people will share with them why they come to Meiji Shrine, why local people do the wedding ceremony here, this and that. And sometimes when we will encourage our trip leader to use the local transportation, to use the subway to bring our traveler from one place to another place. And sometimes you will encounter a group of school students, and all the students behave so well at the subway station. And then this is the time the trip leader can facilitate a spontaneous people-to-people interaction to ask about the teacher. So where are they going, and why they are sitting there, and how you make the school students behave so well, this and that. So we encourage our trip leader during the trip to have more this kind of spontaneous people-to-people interaction. So this is a very important quality we want our trip leader to possess when taking our overseas adventure travel. So this is the second quality, or second more like a requirement we hope our trip leader, our tour guide can do. And number 3 is about you are the leader of the group, so you are responsible overseeing all aspects of a travel experience from start to finish. So many of you, maybe you want to know what is the difference of a tour guide with trip leader. So we will call our tour guide, if you work with OAT, we don't call you tour guide. We will call you trip experience leader, because you are the leader not only going to deliver excellent travel experience to the travelers, and meanwhile, you are the leader, you are responsible for all aspects of this trip. So what you need to do, number 1, you need to manage your group. You have to ensure everyone gets along with each other, and you have an enjoyable travel experiences together as one group, as one family. So you will prepare our travelers with daily itinerary and set the right expectation of what will be happening today and what will be happening in tomorrow. You need to prepare our travelers with those information. And for OAT, we always want our trip leaders to lower the expectation of American travelers. You will lower their expectation, but you can over delivery on site. So this is a very important skill when you join us, we are going to support and train you and coach you on that. And number 3 things you will do as the leader of the group, you will handle emergencies situation, and you are going to be the person to solve the issues. Of course, when emergency and issues are happening, we have a whole office team. We are going to support you. The total number of the office workers in our office in Tokyo, we have 8 people. We have 8 associates to support you. 3 of them come from program service role, and there will be another 3 of them come from operational role. And also we have country manager and we have a regional general manager to support you on road for handling any kind of emergencies. And we are 24/7 hours support. So if you need any support, any help, you send us messages, send us emails, we are going to get back to you. But you as the trip leader, what we want you is that to take that responsibility to take care of the travelers' experiences from there. So in total, those are the 3 things in summary I want to share with you today. One is about, as a tour guide, you need to speak clear, good English. You are knowledgeable about your country, and Japan has so many history, so many unique culture things. You will be able to provide those information and commentary either in the bus or on the road. Number 2, you will be able to facilitate local interaction to give the travelers a better and a deeper understanding of Japan. Number 3, you are the leader of the group, so you are responsible for this trip, for all kind of travel experiences from start to finish. And I will touch base a little bit about how we compensate our trip leaders. The ways you are compensated. Number 1 is you have daily wage, we call it per diem. So we will pay you by per diem. And number 2 is our travelers will tip you, because our travelers, they come from America. And I believe many of you knows that Americans has the habit to tip people who are in the service industry. So our recommendation of the tipping policy in Japan is $10 to $12 per person per day. So those are the 2 basic things you will be compensated. And second thing is about if you achieve excellent results on this tour, you will be compensated for your excellent service and excellent job. So there are 3 things. 1, you will have incentive of your per diem. So 20% to 40% on top of the per diem. So today I will not go into the details, but it means that if you achieve the excellence goal, and then we will give you more on top of your per diem, either 20% or 40%, based on the result of your excellence. Number 2, when you work with us after multiple groups, your level is going to be increased based on your results. And when you are level 1 trip leader and a senior trip leader, you will have higher per diem compared with how you start with. So this per diem is related to your experience, like multiple years you have been working with us, and also it relates to the excellence result you have achieved. So if you have been very successful, and you will get upgraded to a level 1 and a senior trip leader, and then you will get higher per diem every day, higher per diem. And meanwhile, you will have higher incentive because the incentive is based on your per diem. And number 3 is about bigger tips. Our traveler always want to recognize your excellent performance. And travelers, our American travelers, they will tip more when they enjoy this trip very much. So those are the three things. If you achieve excellence, and then you will be compensated for your excellent service. And pretty much this is the information I want to cover about overseas adventure travel. And this is a travel company, has some similarities with other travel companies, but meanwhile we have our unique things. And this is a performance-driven company, as you can tell. We set those things because we want to drive your performance. Yeah. And for our trip leaders team, right now we have roughly 45 trip leaders in our team. And all the trip leaders, one of the good things is that you can learn a lot of things from different trip leaders, because different trip leaders has different characteristics. They have different things they are good at. We encourage our trip leaders to share their best experiences, how they make the trip successful. And before you are going to work for us, when we hire you, we are going to put you to ride along with our trips, with our trip leader. So you will join a group to see the whole thing, how we deliver this trip. And then you are going to learn from our trip leaders. I think that's a lot of support. As a company, we are committed to support you to be successful. Yeah. So maybe you will have some questions later, but this is pretty much what I want to present on behalf of Grand Circle Corporation and Overseas Adventure Travel in Japan. Thank you very much. And Fumito-san, microphone goes to you.
Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
45 trip experience leaders in Japan?
Yeah, right now, yes.
Right now. How many trip experience leaders are you looking for now? You want to?
Right now, actually, we are looking for another 10 to 15 trip leaders.
10 to 15.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. And later we have a Q&A session, but we already have one question. So let's ask you, how can we learn what is unique and what is not? Do you have any recommendations? Catch up quickly.
You mean what is unique of?
How can we learn what is unique and what is not? Do you have any recommendations? Catch up quickly.
Okay. So may I recap your question? Your question is, the trip leaders or the tour guides, they want to know what is unique and what is not unique. About what? About tour guides?
Tour guides.
About tour guides.
It's from the question from guide participants.
Okay. Okay. So what is unique? What is not unique? I think there are some of the trip leaders, they are unique. I can share. Yeah. And I have been, firstly, I am a trip leader before. I was a trip leader before. Yeah. Before I worked in the office, I have been a tour guide from 2002 till 2011. So I have been tour guide for many years. And then I've been working for overseas adventure travel. And some of the uniqueness about tour guide, I think one is about you are able to share insiders information about your country. So insiders information is about something when they read internet, they may don't know about. Because there are so many things are very easy for our traveler to read. When they come to Tokyo, when they come to Hakone, they have already read a lot of information. But some of the trip leader always can give the information that our traveler, they cannot read. Like geisha. Geisha is one of the topics very popular. And our traveler has a lot of questions, but some of the trip leader can deliver the knowledge in depth about geisha. But some trip leader can only touch the basic level. And I think that's the first thing. Second thing is about sense of humor. Because American traveler like that. When you take American group, they always make jokes. So if you have a sense of humor, and that is another uniqueness about you. Yeah. Number three is also about what kind of things you can share with our travelers. And one of the things we encourage our trip leader to do is to share your personal life with the travelers, and then you can build stronger connection with them. So this is another thing we encourage our trip leader to do. So, maybe when you work as a tour guide, you always tell the information about Tokyo, Hakone, Kanazawa, about this and that. But when you work for overseas adventure travel, maybe we encourage you to share your personal life. Some of our trip leader, their grandma comes from South Korea during the Second World War. So we encourage our trip leader to share that history because, because of South Koreans in the old days, there are some discrimination happen in Japan. And then the trip leader who have this background, she went through hardship in her school days. She didn't want to tell about that part of history because she didn't want to be, discriminated by her classmates. So we encourage our trip leader to share those information because that makes you as a person to connect emotionally with our travelers. And the more information you share with them, they know better about your life, and then they know you better as a person. And they have someone, they will not call you a tour guide, you become their friend at the end of the trip. And many of our trip leaders, they are invited to go to the United States, to our travelers' home, to be a guest, because after their trip in Japan, they always keep contacting each other. And when you visit America, your traveler will invite you to go there. It's like very common thing for overseas adventure travel. So we encourage our trip leader to create that kind of stronger connection between you with the travelers. Yeah, it's more like people-to-people connection. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so later we have another Q&A session. Thank you very much, Tyler.
Okay. Yeah, I will turn off my camera and mute myself.
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. And next, Tenin-san and Kaori-san, it's your turn. Please turn on the video and mic.
はい、こんにちは。私、エクソトラベルの池田と申しますが、私はじめ、プレゼンさせていただくんですけど、ちょっとビデオが停止されており、オンにできません。
もう一度お願いします。
はい。映りましたね。はい。はい。皆様、こんにちは。本日は Introduction to Guiding EXO にご参加いただきまして、どうもありがとうございます。エクソトラベルジャパンのプロダクトチームの池田と申します。後ほど、弊社のテリンより、エクソトラベルのガイディングにつきましてご案内させていただきますが、その前に、まずは、会社のご案内を私からさせていただきます。それでは、スクリーンをシェアさせていただきます。はい、映っておりますでしょうか。はい、それでは始めさせていただきます。はい、まず、エクソトラベルとはについてお話しさせていただきまして、その次にエクソトラベルジャパンについてお話しさせていただきます。その後、弊社の顧客層について私より軽くご案内させていただきます。そして最後に、弊社のテリンより、エクゾが求めておりますガイディングについて15分ほどご案内をさせていただきます。それではまず最初にエクソトラベルとは、世界最大の東南アジア DMC となっております。本社の国籍はフランスにございまして、総社員約900名ほどおります。1993年にフランスの植民地時代でありますが、ベトナムで起業いたしました。その時代、フランスを筆頭に多くの欧米豪の駐在員の方々がベトナムに、住んでおりまして、その方々のホリデー期間中、ベトナム国内、そして近隣の国々にご旅行になる方々のお手伝いをさせていただいたのが始まりです。当初、会社の名前はエクソティシモと申しまして、フランス語で異国情緒という名前を、 名前でありましたが、後に2014年にエクソトラベルに改名しております。始まった当初はベトナム国内、そして近隣の国々、ミャンマーやラオスなどにご案内していたんですけれども、今では10カ国にお客様をご紹介させて、お客様をお連れしております。日本、タイ、ベトナム、インドネシア、カンボジア、サウジアラビア、ラオス、マレーシア、ミャンマー、シンガポール、この10カ国にお客様をお送りしております。でそれぞれの、ディスティネーションに弊社の、支店がある形となります。弊社は、その他にエクソファンデーションと申しまして財団を設けております。ということで、弊社すべてのツアーの売上の一部は、この自社設立の財団を通して直接的に東南アジアにお客様を、東南アジアの発展、保護活動などを支えております。それでは、それぞれの国にどのように集客しているのかということなんですけれども、欧米豪各国に計7名の専属セールススタッフが在中しております。これらのセールススタッフによる各地でのすべてのエージェントとのセールス交渉が行われることにより、各支店10カ国へのお客様の送客が可能となっております。それでは次に、エクソトラベルジャパンとは、日本最大級の欧米豪に特化した B2B 専門の外資系日本 DMC となります。エクソトラベルの日本支社となっております。現在社員は約130名。そのうち70名の、スタッフがトラベルコンサルタントとして働いております。トラベルコンサルタントはチーム分けされておりまして、特に弊社に多くのお客様をお送りいただいておりますエージェント様専属のチーム、そして富裕層のお客様に特化したラグジュアリーチーム、また、それ以外の多くの国々のお客様、グローバルチーム、最後にグループチームと申しまして、12名以上の方々のことを私たちはグループと呼んでいるんですけれども、グループチームに分かれております。このグループチームの中にはマイス、そしてアドベンチャートラベルに特化したチームもございます。これらチームに関しましては、後ほどテリーにより詳しくご説明いたします。その他40名のホテルリザベーションを行ってくれるリザベーションチーム、そしてその他の手配、オペレーションをしてくださるオペレーションチームがおります。このように完全なる分業と弊社の自社システムを利用することによって多くのお客様をご案内することが可能となっております。去年11月にはパンデミック前の2019年の売上をすでに超越しておりました。2019年は、計1万9000人、約2万人のお客様をお迎えしております。そして、これらの多くのお客様の大多数を占めるのが、イギリス大手6社のエージェント様から、日本のツアーはすべて弊社にお送りいただいておりまして、そこが多くのイギリスのお客様を手配しているゆえんでもあります。でその他、アメリカの富裕層エージェント、ほとんどのアメリカ富裕層エージェントという方々は馬長層というメンバーになっているんですけれども、その方々、ほぼ全社からのお問い合わせも受けております。続きまして、エクソトラベルの顧客層です。すべて欧米豪 FIT2 名から4名、多くても6名の1グループのみのプライベートツアーを行っております。要するに、募集型は行っておりません。シェアードツアーと呼ばれるものは行っておりません。ということで、現場のガイドさんといたしましては、皆様お友達同士、または家族同士のため、ツアーを行っていても、コントロールしやすいのではないかなと思います。ほぼすべてのお客様が初めて日本に来る方々で、ゴールデンルートを中心に回っております。このゴールデンルートを中心に回るのはほぼ他の日本の、旅行会社さんと同じかと思うんですけれども、現状今の日本では約 15% の欧米豪のお客様のみが地方を追加しているんだそうです。この地方には北海道、東北、沖縄、九州が含まれます。弊社は、年々この地方に行きたいとおっしゃるお客様が増えてきておりまして、特にエージェントから多くのご要望があります。 なので、弊社の今後の目標は、この地方にどれだけ多くのお客様をお送りするかというところにかかっております。結局、欧米語のお客様というのは、トータルで日本のみで2週間から1ヶ月という大変長い間ご旅行する方々です。これがアジアのお客様とは全く違うところ、大きな違いだと思われます。そうすることによって日本全体に対しての1人当たりの消費額がかなり大きくなります。これが今、日本の全体的な、旅行会社の方々が欧米号に着目しているところだと思います。では、続きまして、テリンより、弊社のエクソガイディングについてご説明させていただきます。それでは一旦、私の共有を停止いたします。
Okay, excuse me. Hello, everyone. Give me a moment to share my screen here. Okay. Here we go. Let me return to this. Okay, thank you, Kaori-san. I hope that you all had a good introduction to EXO with that. And now we are going to look at some specifics about guiding with EXO. Our goals for the rest of today's presentation are to provide some background on EXO and our guests, to understand the different types of EXO guides, to review some of our popular tours that you might be guiding for, and to get you excited to guide for EXO. So let me tell you about myself. My name is Taryn Jackson. I am originally from Los Angeles. I've been here for about 10 years. I am the Regional Product Development Executive. I am based in Kyoto. Most of our team is in Tokyo, but there are some of us in other places too. I was a private guide in Kansai for about 5 or 6 years. You can see some pictures of me guiding there. I've guided thousands of guests throughout the region here. My current job at EXO is destination development, tour research and creation, guide training, as well as plenty of marketing and writing. So I do a little bit of everything, but I like to stay connected with the guides because I know exactly what it's like to be a guide here and what all of you have to go through. So let's talk a little bit about our guests. Kaori gave you a little bit of information, but let's look at more. I think that our FIT guests are generally very easygoing and excited to meet their local guide, which is you. So where do these people come from? They come mainly from UK, America, Australia, Europe. Most of our guests speak English, but there are other languages mixed in there too. How do these people find us? They book a complete trip through a travel agent. They are not booking a single experience. They are booking their whole trip, and EXO provides their whole trip. So what do these guests expect? They are usually very interested in culture, history, and art. These are not the typical Instagram tourists who just want to take pictures and do a little shopping and move on. They are very interested in local culture. They want to learn through experiences and connections, not just lecture style explanations. And they're very eager to meet locals and understand Japanese life through connections with locals. So the key points here are that most of our EXO guests will only have 2 or 3 guided days in their trip. Their trip might be anywhere from 2 weeks to a month, but they only have a few days in key cities with a guide. So that time with you as their guide is extremely special. They have only chosen a few days with a guide. There's a lot of expectations. They're very excited for that. So we want you to definitely make it stand out. All right, let's look at our different types of guides here. We have 5 different kinds of guides. Our main guide is FIT guides. So these are private guides. As Kaori said, these are not shared tours. These are private guides for half and full day city tours and day trips and specialty tours, as we're going to see. These tours are usually walking or public transportation. It includes very standard sightseeing sites, but also some off the beaten path locations, specialty tours, and orientation, which is a little bit different. And we're going to talk about that later on too. Most of these tours are 2 to 4 guests per tour. Sometimes it can be more or less. Sometimes it's with larger families, but it's usually a half or full day tour with about 3 or 4 guests, let's say. We also have a luxury department. This is called Lux, and the Lux guides are a little bit different. They handle the special requests and expectations of high-end guests and travelers. So this is a little bit different. These tours usually have a private car. They might have more exclusive experiences. They might have special lunch or dinner reservations, and it's a little bit different with luxury guests. They also might include specific shopping requirements. So the guide might have to translate for specific shopping experiences. The best guides for Lux are experienced and comfortable with high demand luxury guests. Luxury is very different than FIT. It's not as casual. It's a little more focused and high end. And we do prefer our luxury guides to have some luxury experience. Anyone can become a luxury guide, I think, with the right training and the right practice, but it is a different set of skills than just regular FIT. And those skills, I think, include excellent communication and problem solving, as well as a understanding of luxury expectations and needs. It's quite different. There's a lot of last minute changes, let's say, perhaps last minute requests. So we need someone who can think on their feet and have very good communication. Now here's some numbers for you. The 2023 projected total for FIT and Lux together is approximately 6,400 tours with guides nationwide. That's quite a bit. These are all, single day, half day, or full day tours. And most of these are on the Golden Route. But as Kaori said, there are some that go off the Golden Route. So we do want guides in all different locations. But that is a lot of tours that we have to fill with guides. So we would like to work with you. Let's move on to some other kinds of guides. We have the group and the through guides. These are the guides who join the large group tour and they travel to multiple cities. This could be 20 to 30 guests using a bus, usually, but it could be sometimes only trains. Occasionally, there could be multiple guides for a very large group. This one, we want guides with experience and good organizational and communication skills. That is what we prioritize for this. It's very different to lead one of these group tours as opposed to just a small FIT day tour. We really need someone with a wide range of knowledge from multiple locations. You would maybe need to know Tokyo, Kanazawa, Kyoto, Hiroshima. You could be asked to do all of that, not just one city. We have approximately 150 groups in 2023. We don't know exactly where this is going to land, but around 150. So we do need a lot of guides, and these are spread throughout the year. Let's move on to MICE and events. MICE stands for Meetings, Incentive, Conference, and Exhibitions. This is a little more professional than just the regular group and through guides. This includes people like translators, coordinators, and guides who can provide support for professional, business-focused events. It's often, again, large groups of travelers, usually traveling for business purposes. So we want guides who have experience in international and business settings. I think good English is, of course, a very good skill for these sorts of tours, but being comfortable in a fast-paced kind of professional environment is great too. For this year, we have approximately 20 MICE groups, which might sound low, but it takes a lot of work to get these here and going, and it's very difficult to find really excellent guides for this. So we're always looking for very specific guides with these specific skill sets for the MICE groups. And our last kind of guide that we need is adventure guides. So we do biking and hiking and trekking tours. These are multi-day tours. This might be something like biking from Kanazawa to Osaka. Over 3, 4, 5 days, or trekking Kumanakodo, or up in Ishikawa going to Noto Peninsula. There we go, Kumanakodo. Shimanami Kaido also, that is a multi-day cycling tour that we do offer, and of course Noto. So for this, we do require a first aid certificate. If you're doing the trekking, the hiking tours, we prefer the wilderness first aid, which is a little bit different. And this is really about leadership and group organization, especially if you're leading a bike tour with multiple people on bicycles. This is not for everyone. This is a very narrow skill set and a very active guide, but there are plenty of these adventure guides out there who want work, and we want to meet you. These are all multi-day tours, and of course, transportation and lodging is covered. And if you are a cycling guide, of course, you do need a above average level of fitness, but not super professional. You don't have to do marathons or anything, but it is a lot of cycling. It is on usually electronic bikes, so that helps. And we are, of course, willing to train new adventure guides if you're interested in outdoor activities, or if you are a guide who has guiding experience, but not necessarily adventure guiding experience. Yeah, we're always willing to train you. The requirement here is a well-rounded guide who are both good adventurers and good guides. We don't want someone who is super focused on just hiking and equipment and gear and forgets that they're also supposed to be a relatable, friendly guide too. So there has to be a balance. We have approximately 65 adventure tours in 2023. Most of these are biking tours, but there are some hiking tours in there as well. Okay, let's move on. What do we expect from our guides? These are just some general expectations that we have. We, of course, want you to follow the itinerary as best as possible, but adjust creatively when necessary. We want you to listen to the guests and really learn their preferred style of touring, because everyone's different. Every guest is different, and we want you to adapt your guiding style to meet their needs. Some guests might prefer a little more information and history and dates and facts, whereas others don't need quite as much, and they want to hear about your personal life and what it was like to grow up here and live here. Our guides are, in general, especially FIT and Lux, are not formal flag-carrying tour guides. Apart from group tours, it's very personal. Instead of only sharing historical facts about locations, we want you to, use stories from your life to illustrate the culture here. We want these well-rounded guides with local knowledge. We want you to know the local special locations and know the logistical information to make tours smooth. So if there's a train closure or if something's not running, we want you to know how to get to where you have to get in a creative way, and maybe see something on the way if there is time, and make sure that there's plenty to see on the tour and that there's value to it. And most importantly, we want flexibility. We prefer guides who are flexible and understanding. We want to trust you to be a local expert and to give the best experience possible, and to know what to show guests beyond just the itinerary that we give you. So after good communication, I think that flexibility is the most important skill. You have to understand that we are trusting you, the guests are trusting you. We just want you to be like their friend who is showing them around town for a nice day out. So how do we help you? How do we support you? We want to offer our knowledge and support to make you more comfortable on tours. So we do a lot of guide training. This is several times a year. We can do this in person in major regions, in the big cities, or online for our nationwide guides. A recent one that you can see a picture of here was our spring 2023 Kansai seminar in Arashiyama. I led this as a former guide and as a guide trainer. So we can see a picture of us there in the bamboo forest. What did we do in this training? We offered 2 different days to match our guides' busy schedules. We know you're busy, so we try to give you as many chances to join as possible. We share details of our new 2023 tours. We refreshed our essential guiding skills and shared our different techniques and tips for guiding. We discussed guest expectations. We had a Q&A session with a foreign guide, which was me. So I am able to answer your questions about what the foreigner guests expect, what kind of information they want, what do they really think about touring here, what do they want to hear from you. I think this is a great chance to talk to a foreign guide. And then we actually walked our new Arashiyama tour. We did the tour and we practiced that, and how to talk about these specific locations and how to learn the route. So we want to do this more often in the big cities. We can't get out to the rural areas as much as we would like to, but we can offer some online training a few times each year, specifically for all of our guides. We also want to have good communication with you. So if you are assigned tours and you have questions about the schedule or specific guests or the budget or the booking, you can, of course, email the operations team staff who contacted you about your booking. And excuse me. And if you have questions specifically about the itinerary, the locations, or how to do research, or even how to explain certain things in English to your guests, the operations team can connect you to the product team, which is what I am a member of, and we can help you since we were the ones who made these tours. We also have guide notes. We don't have this for all tours now. We would like to eventually have this for all tours, but these are notes that we put together for you as some extra tips when we make the tour, things that we know to make it smoother. So an example of this, we're not going to read this all, but just so you can see an example, this is our Arashiyama tour guide notes, letting you know what the itinerary is, and then some tips about what to tell the taxi driver if he doesn't know where the first location is, what you can use as a backup if something is closed, where you can stop to get a drink and a snack if the guests are tired, that kind of stuff. We want to give you as much information as possible, and we do our best to do that. So let's look at some of our sample tours here. We have tours all over. We're just going to look briefly at Tokyo, Kyoto, and Kanazawa to see the kind of tours that EXO is looking for guides for. So let's start with Tokyo. In Tokyo, we offer orientation, and this is a little bit different because this is not a regular tour, but I think this is actually really fun. You meet at the hotel, you meet the guests there, and you go over the contents of the welcome package that they have received. This is a bag that all of our guests get with their itinerary and their tickets and a IC card and all sorts of information about their trip. So you can go over that with them. You can answer any questions they have about self-guided sightseeing, because a lot of our FIT guests, they do have non-guided days that they are self-guided. They go out on their own, so you can give them ideas where to go sightseeing. You can take them to the local station and show them how to use the IC card and get their JR Rail Pass. And then if you'd like, if the guests would like, you can go do some local sightseeing. You could take them to the local temple or shrine or shopping, whatever they would like. I think this is really interesting. It's not a normal sightseeing tour. It gives you a chance to just have a friendly interaction with some people who have just gotten here. They're very excited to be here and to meet you. This could be very short, depending on their requests. If they don't want to do sightseeing, if they're tired after their flight, this could end up being very short. But the goal here is guest comfort with their surroundings: how to get on a train, how to use their tickets, how to go to the konbini and buy food. Just simple stuff that I think is quite fun. So this is something that most of our guests do. So a lot of our guides are assigned this. We also have our Tokyo Classic tours. There's a full day Tokyo Classic and then 2 half days that are divided into West and East. We're not going to go through each one of these, but they do include a mix of the following kind of standard places: Meiji Jingu, Omotesando, Harajuku, Ginza, the Imperial Palace and the garden and bridge there, Tsukiji, Hamarikyu Garden with a stop for matcha tea in the tea house, and Asakusa Sensoji. So this is pretty standard sightseeing stuff. Most of our guests will have one of these 3 tours, and I think most of you guides can probably handle this pretty well. This is pretty straightforward. Note that it's not all of these places. It's a mix of some different ones. The West and East only have, I think, 3 or 4 places in it. Okay, we do have some specialty tours in Tokyo as well. Let's look at 2 of these. These are both half days. We have many of these, but let's just look at 2. The first one is the Monzen Nakacho walk. This one's pretty cool. This is a nice little walk through just an everyday neighborhood. This includes the Tomioka Hachimangu, which is the sumo shrine, the Narita-san Fukugawa Fudodo, where you see the Goma fire ceremony, which is quite fun. If there's time, you can go to the Fukugawa Edo Museum. And then we finish with the Kiyosumi Garden. So this is all done walking. This is a chance to stop at some local shops and try some local food and snacks. I think this is really fun. And we hope that that you are very comfortable on these sorts of tours, because it's very personal. And we just get to show the guest, local Tokyo atmosphere. The next specialty tour is called Journey Through the Floating World. And of course, that means ukiyo-e. So this is a ukiyo-e focused tour. The first location is Asakusa and Sensoji, and then a train to the Sumida Hokusai Museum, and you look at the ukiyo-e there, and then you stop for lunch. And then you take a train to a ukiyo-e gallery that is also a workshop. And there's a hands-on activity where the guests actually make their own ukiyo-e. So I think this is a very interesting tour as a guide, especially if you are interested in ukiyo-e, and so many foreigners are. So we would hope that you would like to guide this for them, and maybe you could brush up your knowledge on ukiyo-e and how to translate some information about that for them before going on this tour. Okay, let's move on to Kyoto and look at two of our half-day tours there, the west and east. The west one is pretty straightforward, Nijo Castle, Ryoanji, and then a walk or a taxi to Kinkakuji. So this is very straightforward, pretty much some of the top 3 sites in the city, but these are of course must-sees and everyone wants to see them. The east itinerary is Sanju Sangendo, and then a taxi or walk to the Higashiyama area, which is Ninenzaka, Sannenzaka, not all the way up to into Kiyomizudera, but that area there. And then a walk through either the kind of Yasaka Pagoda area or Yasaka Jinja, depending on really what you're comfortable with. And then finishing up with a small walk through Gion. So I think this one's nice. This is a very walking friendly tour. A lot of our guests are a little bit older, but they do enjoy walking. But this can be modified with a taxi ride if that's necessary too. Okay, let's look at 2 of our specialty tours in Kyoto. Our first one is the Arashiyama Backroads Walk. I love this tour. This is a very successful tour, and the guest satisfaction is very high for this one. And this includes some sites that people don't usually see on their own: Otagi Nembutsuji, Adashi no Nembutsuji in the bamboo forest there, the Gyoji Moss Garden, Rakushisha, and then we finish with tea at Okochi Sanso and the bamboo forest. So this is a really great one that gets people away from the tourist area. Of course, you finish in the bamboo forest, but you have some nice quiet areas before that. Next is the Kyoto Art Tour. This includes Keninji, where you can talk about the gardens and the paintings, Gojo-dori Pottery Street. You can go into a pottery shop. There's a small Wakamiya Hachimangu shrine there that has a pottery god. And then, of course, the Kawai Kanjiro House to talk about Minge art. And we think that wagashi is art too. So let's stop at Kanshundo and try some wagashi and see how they make the wagashi there. And then finish with Sanju Sangendo, which of course you could talk about Buddhist art and statues there. And the last tour we'll look at real quick is in Kanazawa. This is pretty straightforward, very popular. Kanazawa Castle, the Nomura House and the Samurai District. And then you get to go see a private sword collection with a hands-on experience holding these swords, which is, I think, very special and very cool. A lot of people love that. So that's just a quick look at some of our single-day tours. We have tours all over nationwide, all sorts of full and half-day city and culture tours. We always need guides in these places. We need, art lover guides in Naoshima and culture guides in Koyasan. We're really looking for people all over. The opportunities to lead these EXO tours will grow consistently over the next few years. We will always need guides in major cities like Tokyo and Kyoto, but we are eager to build relationships with guides in the rural areas like Takayama, Tohoku, and Hokkaido, of course, too. And we aim to remain the top inbound company that values our relationships with guides. And if you are a talented guide anywhere in the nation here, we really want to meet you. So if you are interested in wanting to guide for us, please, you can contact me directly. There's my email. Please make a note of that, and I will send you a link to fill out a profile. Normally, I am not involved in guide operations and bookings, but sometimes I do help out with this sort of stuff. So you can contact me to fill out a profile, and after that, it will go to the operations team, and they will be the one handling guides from there. So if you have any questions, we can have our Q&A session now for everyone. So let me throw it back. And there we go. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for the presentation, Terin-san. If you have any questions, please send the question through Q&A box. Tenny-san, can I ask one thing?
Yes, please.
If your guest books the whole trip, like 2 weeks,
Mhm.
If you assign one guide for whole trip, or if you assign several guides for each place.
So if it's a regular FIT or luxury tour, which is
Mhm.
most of our tours, they have a different guide in each city. And like I said, it's usually only 2 or 3 guided days maybe for the whole trip. So maybe usually 1 or 2 days in Tokyo, and then maybe 1 or 2 days in Kyoto, and maybe 1 day in Kanazawa or Hiroshima too, you know.
I see. And which area do you want to find a new guide, especially?
I'll be honest, we really want to meet guides everywhere.
Everywhere.
Because sometimes we might meet some really, maybe all of a sudden we're going to meet a lot of guides in Aomori. And we say, wow, we have a lot of great guides in Aomori. Maybe we should make some interesting tours in Aomori. So we never know. But I think right now we are focused, especially on Takayama. We would really like guides in Takayama and Kanazawa. And let's also say if there's any art lover guides for Naoshima or in the Okayama area for Bizenyaki, we would like that too.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
We didn't receive any question yet, but I want to ask Taiga-san and Terin-san, how do you think how the guide improves their guiding skill? Like knowledge, it's easy to improve their skill to study the place, but like communication skill or flexibility, facilitation skill, how do you think how to improve their skill?
Tiger, why don't you go first? I've been talking for a long time now.
Okay.
So Terin-san, please stop the sharing.
Yep. Okay.
Please.
So how does the guide improve their skills of guiding, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think if any of the tour guides want to improve their skill of guiding, number one thing, they need to practice their delivery, which means that there are certain things, like if you are taking a group tour, you have to talk that information in front of the whole group. So you have to make sure you have a structure, how you are going to talk this topic. And I think one of the differences I can tell is that ours, overseas adventure travel, this is more like a group tour. You always take a group of more than 10 people, sometimes it's 16, maximum size. So you have to prepare lots of things ahead of time, and you have to rehearse it. You must have a rehearsal. You have to deliver a welcome briefing. You have to talk about the topics you want to deliver in the bus. So you have to prepare things that in a well-structured way. And then if you can do that, and then your delivery will be more impactful. So that's the first I will recommend our trip leaders to do. Second, how to improve your guiding skill is you have to improve your listening skill, because a lot of times when things happen, it is because you are not listening carefully how traveler respond to you. It happened that for our group we have a bus, we have a bus almost every day, a coach almost every day. So, and in Japan, I understand that the guide is not allowed to stand in the coach to deliver. So maybe the guide has to sit down on the first row and deliver the information. But sometimes the guide never look back. What is the response of the travelers? And then that will become an issue, is that if you don't have eye contact with the travelers, how can you know whether or not your delivery are interesting with them? So I would recommend at least you have to look back several times during your delivery. So I think improve that listening skill is very important. And when you have one-on-one, when you are talking with the travelers one-on-one, you have to really pay attention when they are talking to you, and you need to know how to respond. So that's the second thing I will recommend. Thirdly, I think the best way to improve your guiding skill is to join a real trip with your co-workers. Like when you are joining a trip, for OAT, we call it ride along. So you will be riding along with a group of travelers, and they have a trip leader there, and you are riding along with them. And when you are riding along with them, you will be familiar with what kind of itinerary of the trip, and you will be familiar with all the vendors, the restaurants, coach drivers, and the local vendors who deliver the people to people. And you also will have a chance to learn what kind of things you have to prepare for the travelers ahead of time, and logistics, this and that. And also you know what is the best time to deliver the information. So I think the best chances to learn, to improve your guidance skill, is to ride along with an existing trip leader who have the experience, who can deliver, and then maybe you ride along with this person 2 weeks. And I guarantee by the end of the 2 weeks, you will have lots of information in your own pocket, and you can prepare and you can polish your delivery, and that will make you successful. So I think those are the 3 things I would recommend, trip leader to work on to improve. Yep.
Thank you very much for really practical advice. Thank you very much. How about Tein-san?
Yeah, I think this is a great question. I think that all the things that Tiger mentioned are really great. I think it's really important to get out there and see some kind of on the ground, the kind of realistic situation on the ground with foreign guests and with other tour guides too. So I think it's very important for guides when they're not guiding on their day off to go out to these sightseeing locations and watch the foreign guests and see what things the foreigners notice first when they get to these places, see what things they just walk past, see what things they take pictures of, because there's going to be things that, because we live here and because you are a Japanese, that there's things that you just don't think about anymore. When you're walking down the street, if you see the pet bottles full of water, right, to scare away cats, right? To us, we don't even notice that. But to a foreigner, it's always, what is that? Or the little dish of the salt outside the door, that kind of stuff that we don't even notice. So I think going to these places, both the tourist sites and everyday life, and trying to see it through a foreigner's eyes, a first-timer's eyes, is a good way to think about things that you can talk about on a tour about everyday life. I think it's, of course, important for you to go walk the tour routes on your own to practice, not only to learn the logistics, but to learn the timing and also to see interesting things on the route that you could talk about. I think if you have a chance during busy season, if you can go to these busy sightseeing places and try to find foreign tour guides. I saw this quite a bit in Kyoto this year. I saw American guides who were leading their American groups. They don't live here, but they came over with the group, right? And it was so interesting to listen to what they talk about and how they explain things to their guests. And it might give you some interesting ways of explaining concepts that are difficult to explain in English. You might hear those guides explaining it in more easy to understand English. But I think listening to other Japanese guides too can be really helpful who are speaking English. You might learn something, oh, that's how they explain certain things, But I also encourage you to do a lot of research and read a lot of books. I've read so many books about Kyoto when I was guiding, and I learned so much from it. And you don't have to share all of that information on every tour with every type of guest. But it's good to have that information kind of in the back of your mind because one day you're going to get a guest who asks questions about something that you read many years back that you go, aha, I read a book about that, So personally, I believe that you should always try to have a little bit of an answer for everything. And you can learn that by reading and by studying. And there's a lot of great books about culture here that have the Japanese on the left page and the English on the right page. And you can learn very well from those some basics about how to explain things in simple English. But I think going out there is very important, but it's also important to do the research at home on your own time too.
Thank you, Terin-san. And we have 4 minutes more, and we had a question to Taiga-san.
Yes.
Could you check the Q&A box?
Okay. The key questions and answer.
Yeah.
Okay. The first question: when are training tours offered? There are several opportunities per year. So for overseas adventure travel, we have 2 big trainings every year. One is the beginning of January or the beginning of February, depends on every year. And then we have another big training by the beginning of July or the beginning of August. So every year we have 2 big trainings. I mean, big means that this training is for everybody in the team. So like 40, 50 people will gather together, plus lots of regional associates and someone from America, from Boston, will join us too. And the length of the training is about 5 days. And we are going to spend 2 to 3 days in the classroom. But every day we will have some opportunity to go out to do something. And then we have maybe 1 or 2 days on site. We are going to have a dry run to go there. And also for our new trip leaders, sometimes we will offer a dry run training. A dry run training means that we are going to arrange like 7 to 8 days training, intensive training for all the newbies, for all the new trip leaders. And we bring them to Tokyo for 2 days, Hakone for 1 day, Kanagawa for 2 days, and Kyoto for 3 days to cover almost every feature on this trip, and then give them that kind of knowledge and logistic to prepare them for their future job like this. And we also have some mini trainings. Mini training is based on the request of the trip leaders, and based on sometimes we are training for some special topic, such as for overseas adventure travel, we like our trip leader to deliver some controversial topics about Japan, such as political issues or maybe the World War II, because a lot of American travelers at their age, 60, 70 years old, they want to know more about how the Japanese people think about World War II. So this kind of trainings we will also provide, and we call them mini trainings. And it could be on Zoom, or it could be on site, based on the availability of the trip leaders. So I think that's the first question. And the second question, how much personal information of travelers we can have as a tour guides? Yes, you will have their emails, their phone numbers, their job before, their age, their birthday. And meanwhile, we encourage everybody, not encourage, actually is a request. All of you will send a pre-trip email to our travelers. So through the pre-trip email, our traveler will share with you what they want to do in Japan. And to some extent, you will provide some personal choices for them. Like during the free time, they have 3 hours free time in Kyoto. And they maybe some travelers said, I want to try the local dyeing about how to dye the color on the fabric. They want to try that. And then you, as the trip leader, you will give them some recommendation where they can go, how much is the price, this and that. And our traveler also will share with you what they are interested in Japan. Some traveler will tell you that they were teachers before, so they want you to tell them what is the education system work in Japan, this and that. Yeah. So those are the 2 questions I can read.
Thank you very much. Terin-san, as for personal information, how about EXO? Before guiding, the guide can get the information.
Yeah, we do provide that. So especially we provide, of course, the names and the age, and also dietary requirements. If anyone's a vegetarian or gluten-free or whatever, it's pretty easy nowadays on the internet to find vegetarian and vegan restaurants in the large cities. So we want to give the guides that as much information as possible so they can look at Google beforehand and get that.
Thank you. It's a really helpful guide. Thank you very much. So it's time 3:30 to end. So lastly, please give a comment to the participants about Taiga-san.
You mean the comments to all the participants?
Guys, yes.
Okay. Yeah. One of the things I think from Terry-san, and we all know that the tourism in Japan right now is booming. There are a lot of travelers are coming to Japan, and we need tour guides. And I think both of the two companies, we will give you enough chances for you to learn. And we just can't wait to receive your profiles, your resumes. And if you have any questions, of course, you can let us know. I didn't put my email address there, but I can send to Mito-san, and then you can share with all the tour guides in this meeting. I'm so sorry I cannot say your face. Usually I like to say the face of everybody. You can only see my face, but anyway, I hope in the future we'll have a chance to work together. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, Terin-san.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you for joining us today. It was really nice to meet all of you, even though, yes, I can't see you. But I'm glad that I had a chance to, and Kaori-san too, that we had a chance to share with you about EXO and what makes our tour special. And I hope it's clear that we want to build a relationship with you. We don't want to just use you for bookings, and you're not just a number to us. We really want to build a relationship with guides and provide training and provide support. And that's a very big part of what we do. As you know, as you saw, I am a former guide. So it's very important to me that we treat our guides well and that we respect them. And we hope that you would like to work with us in the future. So please send me an email and I can send you the link to our form. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So
Okay.
everyone.
There is one more question about age limit.
Okay.
I think, yeah,
Please.
I don't think there is an age limit, and it's like, you in OAT we don't call our traveler old traveler, we call them senior traveler or experienced traveler. So I don't think there is an age limit, but our trip will have 2 weeks. So you are going to be 2 weeks away from home. It really depends on your physical ability, whether or not you can handle it. As for the trip itself, I don't think is that difficult, because the places where we're going for overseas adventure travel is easy. Not that many steps. You don't have to do too much hiking, so it should be okay. Yeah, that's how I understand. Yeah, maybe Terry-san has different information to share about this age limit thing.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. A lot of guides do tend to be a little bit older, but like Tiger said, a lot of the guests are a little bit older too. So it's kind of nice when they can match and connect generations. Most of outside of the adventure and the through guides, of course, it's single day tours. So it's a little bit easier to just do a single day tour. However, we do get requests from some travel agents who sometimes request younger guides for younger guests. But we do have guides of all ages. And I know I personally would encourage anyone of any age to be a guide. So let's see if we can build a relationship regardless of age and see if we can make it work.
Okay, thank you very much. So this webinar is finished, and thank you, Taiga-san, Terin-san, and all guide, all participants. Later, we will share the contact information of Teni-san, Taiga-san. So please, if you are interested in their jobs, their company, please contact them. Okay, so thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Have a nice
you. Have a nice day, you too.
Bye.